Now, for the 7th day of December, in the Advent Calendar 2 series, I've decided to go over the top 5 most underrated cars I can currently think of, in my opinion. Your opinions may differ. You may think they're not underrated, you know? I think these cars are all reasonably underrated because people don't talk about them that much. Or they talk about other versions of the car that other people think are better, but in my opinion, I don't think they're necessarily better versions of the car. But without further ado, let's get into it. And our first car on this list is going to be this. This is the Porsche 911 996. They made it from 1999 to 2005, I want to say. They might have stopped making them in 2004. I'm not entirely sure. I have it fact checked right there because I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, literally any version of this car, apart from the 3.4, because apparently the 3.4 is just a bit unreliable and a bit sluggish. You want to get the 3.6. But yeah, you got like anything from the .2 generation, amazing car. People hate on the front lights. Like, look at these headlights. They do look a bit like eggs, but then look at that. They're fixed. Wow. That's epic. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 997 is probably a better car in pretty much all aspects, but come on, you can't hate on the 996, you know? Don't forget your roots, okay? The 996 is a great car in its own right, you know? It's got a turbo, it's got a GT3. I think it has a what's it called? You know, the one with the little tail, the Sport Classic, I think they called it. I could be wrong. I can't remember. It'll be fact checked again right there. Yeah. Next car on our list has a 5.5 litre V12 engine. Okay. It comes from a little place called Italy, Maranello, to be exact. If you don't know what car brand I'm talking about, well then you probably don't know nothing about cars, or you don't know anything about Italian cars. Well, this car is an Italian car, and it's a Ferrari, but it's a Ferrari 456. Just any of the 456s, as long as it's the manual. Because imagine this, right? Okay, it's 1995. You can buy a Ferrari, and you choose to buy a Ferrari with pop-up head. Look at these headlights. They go pop-up, pop-up. I don't know if I can do videos in the video editing software on top of a video, so it might just be 2 pictures of it with the lights up and then with the lights down, or maybe it's a video. I don't know, because I'm using a new video editing software than what I usually use. But yeah, I've got my notes down there. I can't lie. I'm very bad at lying. 437 brake horsepower is nothing to laugh about. That's a lot of horsepower. 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds sounds like a good deal until you hear about another car which has a smaller engine, costs less, and has a faster 0 to 60. But it's probably to do with the fact I'm pretty sure this 456 is rear-wheel drive, but I could be wrong. I believe it to be rear-wheel drive. Again, it's going to be fact-checked right there. Yeah, what's the other thing with it that I was going to talk about? 4 seats. 4 seats and 0 to 60 under 5.5 seconds. Just 5-second 0 to 60 with 4 seats. It's insane. And it's got like a top speed of 186 miles an hour. And you can buy this one right here for £40,000. That's a really good deal. Granted, it's the automatic, but still. Ferrari for 40 grand, you get a V12, big fast, big great. And this one's the GTA, so you know, it's gonna get stolen if you know what I mean. This wouldn't be an underrated cars video without talking about the most slept on Nissan Skyline GTR of all time. You know, I'm talking about this bad boy, the R33. And to be honest, I want to talk about, well, the 400R is not that underrated. Everyone knows about the 400R, and it's an amazing story. But the 400R is the most powerful ever Skyline GTR, like from production at least. You know, with 400 horsepower. You know, I didn't think that was possible in Japan. I thought they were capped at like 360, because a lot of them you don't see a lot of them coming out the factory with over 280 horsepower. But I thought 360 was the top, and then they came out with a 400R. This was before I was born, so I don't know. I'm chatting shit, but yeah, the 400R has like some fat horsepower called 400 horsepower. Big stuff. But yeah, everyone else seems to like the what's it called, the R34 and the R32. But don't get me wrong, if you're gonna get the 4-door, get the R34, because an R34 door will get you more horse. You know, because it's an R34. And just look at the back end. Okay, this is the R32 back end on the 4-door. Not bad. This is the R33 back end on the 4-door. It's not very good. And this is the R34 back end on the 4-door. Wait a minute. that looks just like the coupe. Yes, on the R34, the coupe and the four-door have the same rear end. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm talking about the R33, basically a GTST R33. Come on, you got an RB25, okay, with like, I don't know, if it's modified, like 300 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission. Come on, you can't go wrong with that. It's underrated, okay, especially at the price of this one, which I haven't found yet, but it's gonna be cheap, very cheap. Like I've seen these go for like £5,000, not put together, but £5,000 for a Nissan Skyline in today's current market is unheard of, especially in the States. I don't know about over here. Well, I do know about over here, but you don't see that for a Skyline. But I mean, it's not a GTR, it's a GTST, or just a GT2. I think I'd said that right. I don't know, I might be making up the fact that the GTST exists, but I don't think I am. Yeah, R33 is a good car. I mean, this list is in no particular order, but in second to last place, we have this bad boy, the Mitsubishi Evo 3. Come on. You can't say this car isn't underrated. Think about it, okay? When you say Mitsubishi Evo, okay, you don't think of the Evo 3 as the first car, do you? If someone said to you, oh yeah, I've got a Mitsubishi Evo, you're gonna be like, oh, have you got a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, 8, a 9, or a 10? No one ever talks about the first, or at least that I've spoken to, talks about the first 3. You know, I didn't know they existed. I mean, I did, but I didn't know what they looked like or anything really about them until, I want to say, about 10 months ago, and then I just got really into the Evo 2 and the Evo 3. They're very cool cars, okay? They're so cool, okay, because they share the same chassis as its 3-door counterpart, the Mitsubishi Colt. You know, I'm slightly biased towards that car because I have one. It's not in a very drivable condition right now, but it's going to be fixed on the channel next year, so subscribe if you want to see me fix a car. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's going to be great. But yeah, this car, on the other hand, doesn't need fixing, because it's sold at auction. I can't remember how much it for, but you can usually find these for about £20,000, maybe a bit less. You know, I've seen them go for about 17,000. I saw one really cool one on Facebook actually. It had like a full Evo 6 like interior conversion. I was like, wow, that's really cool. I mean, it still had like the good dash from like the Evo 3, because that dash is the best one, because there's the same dash that's in my car that isn't currently drivable. But yeah, it's also a 2-litre 4G63, which is Mitsubishi's greatest engine they've ever made, because they don't make good engines anymore. I mean, they might do for the L200, but I don't really care about that car because it's a truck, and I'm not a truck guy, I'm a car guy. 0 to 60, 4.6 seconds. That's the fastest car on this list, okay? And it's also the car with the least amount of horsepower on this list. It's because they don't weigh much. I think it's like 1,100, maybe like 1,198 kilograms. It'll say it there because it always says it there when I make these videos. Yeah, it's a good car. It's a really good car. I just love inline 4s, 4 bangers till I die. Yeah, now it's time to talk about the final car on the list. It wouldn't be a car list made by me about underrated cars without talking about the best car shape ever known to mankind. It's known as the 5-door, also known as the Estate, you know? The 5-door Estate is a very legendary car. Okay, now what happens, okay, when you take this pretty simple Audi A4, you know, nothing really crazy about it, and this crazy, over-the-top Audi R8, well, you get this, the B7 Audi RS4 Avant. Great car. If you're not convinced, let me tell you why. Well, you get an R8 engine in a 5-door Estate. That's insane. So you get 415 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. It's a naturally aspirated 4.2 litre V8. Come on, come on. It screams. It's one of the best sounding cars. Of all time, in my opinion. It's also one of the best looking cars. I mean, look at this thing. It's great. Look at it in grey. Look at it in blue. I mean, you can also look at it in red if you want to look at it in red. But now I'm just making it hard for myself to edit this video, because now I've got to edit in more pictures. But yeah, the Audi RS4 Avant, specifically the B7, is a brilliant car. It is an absolutely brilliant car. What else did I write about it? I just wrote good car, because it's a good car. Yeah, if you think these cars were underrated, subscribe to the YouTube channel because you want to see me fix my car at some point in the future because it needs fixing and it's going to get fixed. I just need to buy this thing to fix it. I'm going to call this thing Garfield because it's orange and black. Bye bye.